said I was in my early 40s with a lot of life before me when a moment came.
Hey, Brianne. How are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm good. I see you. Hold on one second. I'm actually uh, having some difficulties back here. It's really weird. It's really, really weird. On my audio, but you can hear me, right?
Yep.
Let me go check out something. Let me pull out something. I'll pull you right back in. Hold on one second. Hey guys, welcome to the Radical Republicans live show. Hey guys, give me a thumbs up. Let me know you can hear me. All right, because switch stations, switch channels, got some audio issues with the seems like with the music. But let me know. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me. Yeah. Hey, can you over there? I'm looking on Getter and some other stations, but having some issues, some audio. But I think we're good. I think you guys can hear me. Yeah. I cut the music for some reason. The music isn't working for the moment. Hold on, I'm gonna try to go back to that real quick because we have to open up the show the right way. All right, so I'm gonna see if we can pull that back in because it's just really weird, and I'm not sure why. It's the connection here or something like that. Okay, but you see me on X. All right, cool. So you can see me on X. You can see me over on Rumble. On our new station on Rumble, we'll just get the music later. Okay, cool. Okay, got it. All right, so with the Maverick Broadcasting Network here on Rumble now, the Maverick Broadcasting Network. And we're going to have a special guest tonight. It just feels weird not coming in with the with my incoming music, and I don't know what happened with that. You know, it's sometimes when you work with new systems and new browsers, sometimes these browsers, you don't use the same browser, they sort of screw you up. You use Microsoft browser or you use Chrome, and I think I'm going to go back to using Chrome because I've started using Microsoft Edge and been having some issues with Microsoft Edge. So, but I see you guys. Thank you, and should be live over on X. Should be live on. So I want you guys, go over to Rumble. I want you guys to go over to my new Rumble channel. I think I put that up in the chat. And what I'll do, uh, I'm going to try to put this one up in the chat over here on the Maverick Broadcasting Network for you guys to put in there. So if you're over on Getter, and Baseball, I'm going to throw this up in the chat. Everybody's going over on Rumble, I believe. They're Baseball. I see you over there. See if you guys can go over on Rumble. I'm going to pull this up for you. I'm going to share this link. So a little bit slow tonight because we're changing broadcast networks. The Maverick Broadcasting Network has picked the show up. We switched over. And so I'm going to put some things up in some chats here. So you guys can come on over on the Rumble channel and check me out on the Rumble channel. If you're in Getter, I'll keep monitoring Getter, but we're trying to get everybody over on the Rumble station right now. So I just threw it up in Getter to come on over. And if you're on YouTube, because I know some people watching on YouTube, and you're on X, I'm going to pop this up in the chat here because you can see the X. I can see the X and the YouTube. So hopefully you guys can go ahead and check out that link that I just put up in the chat. You're on X, and Carolyn's always on YouTube. So it's pretty cool. So, well, welcome. Hey, I missed you guys last week. I was on vacation. Sometimes you got to take a break around here. But let me get one of our. We changed some the way we do a little bit of my sponsorship. But I'm gonna start with my www.blackett. And Carolyn said, "Hey, why don't you ever put the blackett.com screenshot up so we can see the screen?" All right, so I'm going to share the screen with you just for you, Carolyn. Okay, just for you, Carolyn. So we can get the blackett.com. So it's one of the newest Radical Republicans live shows, newest sponsors by Blackett. Check out their America collection for cool, funny, and patriotic items to wear with pride, and you get a 15% discount off when you go to www.blackett.com with the / of Mamba, MAMBA. And so, Carolyn, this is for you. I putting it up on the screen for you so you can see some of their items that they have. If you're a cat lover, they have items for you cat lovers. They have the Jesus Will Be Back shirts, the fishing shirts, easily distracted by my dog shirts, by my wieners, it actually says. So you got something for your daughter. So you dads or moms, if you got something out there for your dads, dads or for your daughters, if you're dads with daughters. So you can choose your passion, bald and beautiful America passion, cat lovers, Christian, coffee lovers, fishing, my dog, football, and cycling. Okay, so there's some of the items that they have. So go ahead and check it out. You just go to your passion. They got many more items than this. And again, go to buyblackett.com / Mamba, MAMBA, and you can get your 15% discount. All right, so there you go. So I get to the sponsors later. We got some coffee, a new coffee sponsor called Supermassive Black Coffee. So that's a good one too. So we got some changes going on here at the Radical Republicans live show. Here. Okay, but my guest tonight is going to be Brianne Dressen is her name. So she, the author Carolyn Pover wrote a book called Worth a Shot, and it's called Worth a Shot: Secrets of the Clinical Trial Participant Who Inspired a Global Movement. This is Brianne Dressen's story. So what it says here, it says community-minded Utah mom and preschool teacher Brianne Dressen wanted to play her part in helping to end the pandemic that shut down the world in 2020. What a better way than to roll up her sleeves and participate in a clinical trial for the eagerly anticipated COVID vaccines. But something terribly went wrong, terribly wrong. And so part memoir is part medical mystery, part social commentary. Worth a Shot tells the true story of what happened to Brianne's body, her mind, and spirit as she found herself embroiled in a medical, political, and cultural nightmare that had been looming over America for decades. This compelling book, Page Turner, reveals how Brianne uncovers unsettling truths about the dark side of the pharmaceutical industry, leading her to question its control not over just the doctors and drug trials, but also over free speech and the federal government. Worth a Shot chronicles Brianne's journey as she discovers the intricate web of systemic failures that affect the health of millions worldwide, and unwillingly becomes a global advocate for a cause that nobody wants to believe exists. And like I said, this is a book Worth a Shot by Carolyn Pover. Usually we have the authors. Usually have the authors here of the book, but we have Miss Brianne Dressen herself. Brianne, how are you? Welcome to the Radical Republicans live show. Thank you for coming into the Lion's Den with me. How are you?
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so this book Worth a Shot is about you. So tell us what happened. You went to do your patriotic duty. Okay, so you went and you volunteered to for the clinical trials. And so just tell us what happened. Take us back to that day and just take us through your story.
Yeah, so I enrolled in the clinical trial with AstraZeneca here in the United States, and I got my one and only shot with on November 4th, 2020. Within an hour, I had tingling down the same arm as my injection, and that pins and needles, painful sensation spread to my other arm, to both my legs, and then it surged throughout my body, head to toe, 24/7. I still, 4 years later, have that same horrific, painful sensation surging through my body all the time. My injury landed me in the hospital and then in the ER 4 times. I couldn't walk. I was incontinent. I had extreme sensitivity to light and sound. So in my bedroom, I had to have the lights off, towels over the windows to make them even darker. And I was removed from my family. I couldn't be around my children. The sound of my daughter's voice was too much for my ears, and my body was burning and in so much pain. My little boy couldn't even touch me to comfort me. And so it was a pretty dramatic experience. And I spent the next 7-8 months fighting for my life. And the National Institutes of Health, so NIH headquarters, flew me out. And I was diagnosed with post-vaccine neuropathy from the lead research institution in this country.
So by the NIH, so Dr. Fauci's institute, himself, they flew you out and they diagnosed with, what was that one more time? Say it one more time.
Post-vaccine neuropathy.
Post-vaccine neuropathy. So all of the shots. So this was early. So this was even before everyone came out and said that they were safe and effective.
Correct.
That they kept repeating, you take the shot, it's safe and effective. Fauci said it, MSNBC said it, I call them DNC or whatever, but okay, CNN said it, the CDC said it. Everyone said that these shots were safe and effective. However, they had you.
And several others like me from Pfizer, Moderna, J&J. They knew what was going on with the vaccine adverse events, and they were collecting the information even by flying us out, and they were not uttering a single word to the public about it. And this, it sounds conspiratorial because here we are 4 years later and people still don't know that the federal government was collecting information on adverse events at this level, right? It was, this isn't happening. These are the most safe, these are the safest vaccines out there. Go get them, and it was really crazy to be literally in NIH headquarters being studied by Fauci's team, by the way. This was not something that Fauci was unaware of. Fauci knew exactly what was going on. And then watching the news with this like completely different narrative. Because what they were talking to us and what they were explaining to us in the NIH headquarters was a much more nuanced, reasonable conversation than what the public was getting. So,
Wow. You, I had
that's why
read
the book
studies,
is
of course.
important.
Yeah, this book, the book is definitely important. So I'm going to share the screen, so make sure people can get your book and get the book, because I mean, we knew that, okay, a bunch of stuff was going on, and they were not telling the public. Okay, so I'm gonna share this real quick. Okay, so again, this is Worth a Shot, is Brianne Dressen's story. You can get it on Amazon, guys. Okay, go to Amazon and get this book. It's rated 5 stars, and it's by Caroline Pover. Um, and
There's the secrets from the government in there. People don't
the
know what
secret.
happened.
Okay, the secrets from the government. Okay, and we're not going to give the book away, right? Because you want people to go buy the book. Okay, but secrets. Okay, so just give us a tease. Just tease us a little bit, about some of the secrets, or one, or maybe part of the secrets that because they studied you.
Yeah.
They studied you. They brought you in so that they give you medicine to help treat it. I mean, what did they do to help your neuropathy?
That's kind of why we stayed quiet for so long, is because they promised us that they would collect the information and disclose it to the public themselves. So we were like, okay, they're doing their job, right? It takes time to collect
But
scientific
but
information.
but they came out, CDC. But they came out and they actually wanted to, Pfizer, Moderna. They wanted to actually hush this stuff for 72 years. They
Yep.
actually
So
tried
we,
to,
yep. That
right.
was after this. Yeah. So that was about the time that all of that started happening. We realized that we were duped, right? OSHA mandates came out and the NIH stopped talking to us. And then we started taking our records from the NIH and waving them around to all reporters, right? New York Times, Wall Street Journal, they all have it. If you Google my name, Brianne Dressen, and Wall Street Journal, there is an editorial piece on that will illustrate a little bit more about the FDA getting involved in this cover up as well. So this didn't just start with the NIH. It didn't start with just the clinical trials. I mean, the injured were we were kind of passed around like hot potatoes through several health agencies, and we're not talking about just like mid-level management. We're talking Janet Woodcock, who's the head of the FDA. We're talking about Fauci and his team. We're talking about the tops of these drug companies that were, covering up the injuries in the clinical trials. I mean, I would not have believed this had I not lived through it myself. But the reality is that the drug companies knew way more than they told anybody. The government definitely knew way more than they were telling anybody. And the public was definitely intentionally kept from knowing the truth from the people that were harmed. Because it's not like we were just sitting back, quietly hiding. We were crying out for help online. We were reaching out to all of the mainstream media outlets. And just like everybody else that was trying to speak some kind of truth into this narrative, we were shut down. We were silenced. We were canceled. We were hidden. And so this book really does illuminate this big web of cover up, but it does it in a way that is an easy read. It's a quick read. It's not information dense where you've got a bunch of scientific papers in there that you're,
Right.
just going to get really bored. It's a narrative that people can relate to and understand because we walk them through just how bad the cover up is.
And you only took one shot, AstraZeneca, one shot.
Just
Because
one.
and AstraZeneca they were one of the first to pull their vaccines off the market, right? If I remember.
Yeah. So after my injury, my husband noticed that AstraZeneca was marketing something very different to the United States public. So he reported my injury to the NIH January 11th, 2021. That's also when the NIH started their vaccine injury study. And 9 days later, they pulled AstraZeneca off the market in the United States.
And they did it pretty quietly, of course.
Yeah.
and they never released these reports, and they kept going. I mean, like you said, people from Moderna that took the Moderna shot, the Pfizer, whatever, all these different ones. There were so many J&J, but
Mhm.
I mean, so like I said, it was not just you that was in the NIH, and they hid all of this. They hid every bit of this from the public. At least they tried to. Like people like myself, my team, and we went and we saw some of the injuries. We end up pulling, trying to find the information because, like you say, they definitely were trying to hide it. But it's just preposterous that they knew they had you and others. I don't know how many others, but they had you and others, and they still pushed this crap
Yeah, there was at
as
least 2
safe
dozen that they
and
flew out
effective.
in person, and then they had
Two
a whole bunch.
dozen.
So they had a whole bunch more in the running. It's interesting. There's a few mainstream news articles out there that talk about it, and because they forced the NIH to actually confess to what they were doing there, but the articles just kind of hid out there in the corner in cyberspace. So like one ran in LA Times, another one in Science Magazine.
No,
But no,
things that a lot of people don't read. A lot
yeah,
of people don't
exactly.
read LA Times, and they hide
Yeah.
it back on the 15th page or something in the middle. And
Mhm.
wow, amazing. Okay, so um, I mean, and I'm glad that Trump pulled Fauci's personal security team. But okay, so they knew. So how are you doing now? How long did your symptoms last? Are you still having the symptoms? Are you still having the problems, or what's going on now?
Yeah, so the symptoms that went away is the extreme sensitivity to light and sound are gone. The extreme food sensitivities where I was so thin within the first 2 months that you could see every single rib in my body. It was really not a good situation. Everything else I still have, which is a list of well over 20 symptoms. So my legs
Wow.
are still weak. I still have that horrific pins and needle sensation surging through my body all the time. Brain fog, tinnitus, skin issues, extreme food sensitivities, but they're at least to where I can maintain a healthy weight. So it's still a very delicate balancing act from day to day, and it's something that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. So have you contacted your congressional members or anything to try to get maybe in front of Congress? Have you done that? And what have they done to help you?
Yeah, this is actually an interesting part of the book that I hope people are able to get some of their disbelieving family and friends to read. Because in this process for me, there's a lot of people that I was trained to believe were very dangerous people, right? Like Senator Ron Johnson from Wisconsin,
Hmm.
Senator Mike Lee from Utah, which is my home senator. And they both turned out to be incredible humans that have gone to bat for us multiple times. We also talk about Bobby Kennedy, who's slated to be the next Secretary of HHS, which
And this
is,
is why they fear him. Oh my God, they fear this
yes,
guy
yeah,
because of the he knows,
it's because he
right?
knows all of it. He knows what happened to us. He knows what's happened to victims from before. He knows how just corrupt the drug companies are and how
Hmm.
they won't flinch, right? They harm kids. They won't flinch, right? They're not there to help us. They're there to make a buck for sure. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
and and he knows that, right? And so the media is the coverage is astounding to see what they actually cover. I've been in those rooms where news happens, right? Like I attended in person the hearings last week, RFK's confirmation hearings. I was there in person.
Hmm. Oh
I
wow, very
saw,
cool.
yeah, I saw it with my own eyes, right? I heard the words out of Bernie's mouth as he was screaming with his face going red,
Uh-huh.
screaming about onesies, right? So, and then I also was literally right there sitting next to the press desk and could see all of the news articles that they already had completely written up before the hearing even began. Okay.
Right,
And they're all
right.
about
Yeah, they do.
Kennedy conspiracy theories on this. He's getting grilled by the Democrats on this. Nobody had even uttered a word, and they already had the copy ready, right? So I've seen how they play this game. They They already know what they're looking for. They're waiting for that one Democrat person to come in and say just the right words that they can grab and drop into their story. Boom. And then they're the first out the gate and they make the headlines and the money, right? The problem is that it's not actually truthful, and it's not saying anything that actually happened that day. The reason I know, and I also lived this myself because I've done press conferences myself. I was at a press conference multiple times, actually, with Senator Ron Johnson. And we were there pleading for help. We were begging for help. We were telling our lived experiences. We actually talked about how we were at the NIH, right? And then the media doesn't say anything about any of the victims or any of our testimonies.
Right.
And they just go after Senator Johnson as misinformation spreader. You know, he wants people to die from COVID, blah, 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 right? So that's why these books that are coming out are so important, because they actually illustrate what actually happened. Because the opposition, I would say, right, because they're no longer in power at this point, they really want to rewrite history and they want to whitewash history, right? They just want to, it's kind of like a modern day book burning campaign, as I say, is they want to take all of these dissenting voices and make sure that we never see the light of day. And that's why they're pushing so hard on Trump right now, right? Like they're pushing as hard as they can because they know what's coming. They know what's going to come from Cash. They know what's going to happen with Tulsi Gabbard. They know what's going to happen with Kennedy. And if I were them, I would be terrified too.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's coming swift and fast. And this is, I mean, and I don't understand, it sort of pissed me off that Cornyn left town and went on vacation without, demanding confirmation on these people Friday. But I guess it starts back up Monday, and this week it has to get done. But they know what they did. They understand that, what they did was crimes against humanity. What they did was criminal. And they hid the truth, and they tried to hide the truth just because people like Bernie Sanders, people like Elizabeth Warren. Yeah, I'm going to play a clip because you may have seen this. Well, you know what? I have to bring back all my clips again. I'm not going to play it now because I had to close out and then come back in. But I'm actually going to be pulling up some video files as we go. Now, I produce my own show here, so it's touch and go sometimes. It's definitely touch and go. So, but Elizabeth Warren, people like her and Bernie Sanders, because Bernie Sanders almost had a heart attack. He was like, "Oh, I don't receive any money. I don't receive any money from." I don't receive any money from pharmaceutical, and then Elizabeth Warren. But all the people that you there, and you witnessed it, right? And so all the people that were going in at RFK, you had Elizabeth Warren, you had Bernie Sanders, you had all these others, and you go and you look at how much money these people have gotten from the pharmaceutical industry. They were there protecting their dollar, and then you had Elizabeth Warren come out here and say stuff like this about Kennedy. Let me play this.
He intends to continue to make money off his anti-vax position. Look, he says he won't go to work for drug companies because the American people have a right to know that the decisions made while he is Secretary of HHS are only for the good of the American people. And yet, he wants to keep a piece of the action on every one of these anti-vax lawsuits. And what that means potentially is, as Secretary of HHS, he can make those lawsuits a whole lot more profitable. In fact, he may have the opportunity to bankrupt the vaccine manufacturers, and then nobody gets vaccine.
Are you worried that he's in the position to serve his own interests?
That is the problem. He has said he will protect his right to make money off the position of Secretary of HHS. That means that every decision he makes could be for the American people or could be just to benefit RFK Jr.
Do you think any of the points you're making are resonating with your Republican colleagues?
Such a
bullshit
politician, right? I mean, it's funny that she's like these anti-vax lawsuits. Do you know what these anti-vax lawsuits are that he's actually like participated in? Every single one of them are bringing charges on behalf of victims. These are people that got vaccinated. Right. These are people that lined up, like the HPV vaccine lawsuit that she's referring to in the hearing. It's literally teenage girls whose lives have been ruined by the HPV vaccine. They can't get out of bed. They can't even drive themselves to the store. They can't eat a normal meal. Like their lives ended before they even began. And she is able to deliver that crazy slant without even flinching. Not even flinching that these
Not
are
even flinching.
victims.
And you know, and it's infuriating because they talk about how people don't care. These people don't care about the American people. They only care about the money that they're getting from these big pharmaceutical companies, lining their pockets, lining their campaigns. Like I say, and these are victims like yourself. I mean, these are people that have been hurt
Yep.
by the, you know, by this industry and by Fauci and by all of these people that lied, that have lied, and people have gone out, doing their American duty, thinking that they were doing their American duty. Let's try to stop this thing. I'm gonna, help. I'm gonna do my part, right? And then you
Mhm.
end up getting hurt, and they shit on you, and they just throw you away. They just want to throw you away. They don't
Yeah.
care, about you. I sincerely hope that you are a part of, or that you have one of those lawsuits.
I unfortunately am the only person in the United States that's currently suing who's been injured by a COVID vaccine. The
The only,
US, the only person, and the only reason I'm able to sue is not because I'm injured, but it's because I signed a contract directly with the drug company and they agreed to do certain things as in the rare case that there was an injury, and they didn't help me at all, which is what they were obligated to do. Instead, they left me for dead, right? and
right.
and of course you can see that, like, even with Senator Warren's response just there. They, as soon as you're harmed, you are on your own. There is no doctors that know what to do with you. The government will collect your data and then cast you aside. The social media companies will silence you as fast as they can. And you'll be lucky enough if you can connect with a lawyer that will have some kind of financier to fund a multi-million dollar lawsuit on your behalf.
Yeah,
It's a
because, and that's the thing,
nasty
and
thing.
that's the thing that they do. They Because they have unlimited funds. They have unlimited funds, and lawyers and attorneys and victims. We're not rich. We don't have funds because I filed a lawsuit against Facebook because, against Mark Zuckerberg because, I got deplatformed in the middle of a campaign, right? In the middle of my
Yeah.
congressional campaign. He destroyed my campaign and, and of course, possible income, right? And so anyway, I filed a lawsuit in Virginia where I lived in Virginia, and this liberal ass judge, he allowed a motion for Zuckerberg to change venues out to California, out to Silicon Valley, California, where his lawyers are, to where there is not a lawyer in the state of California that will go up against Zuckerberg because he has too much money. A lawyer, I contacted a lawyer out there because my lawyer, he couldn't practice he doesn't have a license to practice in California. So I had to try to find a lawyer and contact a lawyer out there. And I did. And he said if you have millions and millions of dollars in a hole in about 10 years, he said, okay, yeah, I would do it. He said, if you don't, because what they'll do, they'll just keep filing motions to extend, keep filing motions to extend until you're broke and you can't fight no more. And then they'll just go away and you've wasted all of your money.
Yep.
I mean, and this is what they do. Well, I'm glad that you were able to do that because most people, when they take these vaccines and they're part of the trials, normally you sign your rights away. Normally you waive any damages because a lot of people don't understand this. When they were going in to get these COVID vaccines, they had to sign waivers. And those waivers basically took all of their rights away to sue. So this is probably why you're the only one, because you didn't fall for that, or you were able to see that. But these people, they
Well, I
signed
fell
their
for it
rights away. They
before. Yeah.
waived their rights to sue away.
Exactly.
So wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's why you're not seeing these COVID vaccine lawsuits, right? So because the government was failing at what at their duty, right? And the drug companies definitely weren't going to help us. We started a nonprofit, and our nonprofit is called react19.org. And we represent over 36,000 COVID vaccine injured Americans. None of them have justice. None of them even have an avenue for justice. The federal compensation program that's supposed to be
Right.
that mediary between, because you can't sue, so the government's like, well, we'll help, right? We'll take that responsibility away from the drug companies and we'll provide that safety net. Well, that safety net has currently paid $410,000 total to COVID vaccine injured Americans. In addition to that, 370,000 of that is to a death benefit, which I think for a death is too low. So if you split out
Right.
the rest of those payments, it's $4,000 total per person that's been awarded. You have a
Wow.
98% rejection rate for the people that do apply. And if you're one of the, 2% that actually get a payout, you're going to be lucky if you walk away with $4,000 for your life being ruined. No longer able to work, mountains of medical bills. I mean, so when we say that you're on your own, the financial aspect is very much
Right.
a big part of that.
Absolutely. Wow. I mean, it's a shame that, and our government allows that. So, with Trump getting in, hopefully, Trump's going to allow Cash and Pam Bondi and Robert Kennedy to go after these people, on behalf of everyone that's been injured. Like yourself, for these people to have to pay, and I don't mind not one bit if RFK goes after these companies and bankrupt them, because they need to be bankrupted. These people, they have caused more deaths and more injuries than COVID ever did. The more people died after, and I'm glad you're fine. I'm glad you didn't die.
I
And I
survived.
mean, you were injured, but I mean, you were close. You were there.
Yeah,
It ruined
absolutely.
your life. I mean, but other people are actually dead or terminally ill now because they've caused these turbo cancers and all of these problems with their hearts, and women are fertile. They can't. I mean, just everything. I had Naomi Wolf on the show a few times, and she came on and talked about the problems that pregnant women are having. That women are having, being able to carry babies and have babies anymore.
Yeah.
So they've destroyed so many lives, that WHO, and I'm glad Trump, he pulled out of the WHO, and some more countries are following, like Kenya. Kenya is pulling out of
Right.
the WHO because they can no longer trust these people. We can no longer trust these people when they sit there and lie to your face and tell you that these things are this poison is safe and effective, and they have people that have been injured. I mean, one should have been enough. You, 2 dozen others that they flew in. I mean, that should have been enough to say, okay, wait, let's hold off this is not, something's not right. We have too many people, because one is enough. And I'm sure it was many more, like I said, it was many more than the 2 dozen that they flew in
Yeah.
to
We talk
to
about
be
that in the
tested
book.
on.
So
Okay. So we to make sure everybody get the book, because like I said, I don't want you to spoil the book. I mean, it's definitely it'll be fascinating, and I'm definitely going to be picking up the book myself. I don't have it yet, but I'm definitely going to be picking it up. So I want you guys to definitely go to Amazon and go and get this book, Worth a Shot. Worth a Shot, the Brianne Dressen story. She's here live telling her story. I mean, and it's, you can hear people's stories, right? It happens all the time. You can sympathize, but when you actually have someone that's been injured, that can actually tell you, what they've gone through, and and I mean, and like I said, you can go deeper into it, but definitely in the book, because you actually lived through all of this, and this is going to be fascinating. I'm definitely, like I said, I'm going to get the book, and but wow, wow. I mean, we knew that they lie, but to what depth they lie.
yep,
Wow,
they lied to
amazing,
your face.
straight to your face, and the people in Congress and the Senate, most of them don't give a shit. They don't care. They
They
don't care.
don't. We've brought out vaccine injured people in wheelchairs, kids that have died, their parents, right? We've brought them out every single year to Washington, D.C., and we've walked the halls, rolled people down the halls, and I can't tell you how many times both sides, Republican and Democrat, where we've sat in these meetings, and the team that we're meeting with in these Senate offices, a staffer falls asleep, literally. Or there's another staffer that will sit there and she can't even look at us in the face while this mother is crying about her son who died within 24 hours of getting his vaccine. It's very clear that it's a vaccine adverse event that killed her, son who
Right.
graduated high school 5 days before he died. And they can't even look at him in the eyes. They can't even say,
These
I'm
are
so
staffers.
sorry,
These aren't even the
boss.
congressmen. These aren't even the senators. These aren't even the people that represent. These are their freaking workers.
These are their workers. But the interesting thing is we can't even get in the door with the senators and the House of
Right.
Representatives people, right? I mean, it's all a game. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, and it's really, really, really important for all Americans to be completely aware of just how bad the situation is, because the issues with the vaccine injury cover up and all the corruption that's happened there, it's happened before. It's just taken the form of a COVID vaccine injury at this point, right? So they have this setup. It's like rinse, wash, and repeat, right? There's going to be another group that comes after us that gets picked off by some other pharmaceutical.
By
And
some new vaccine that they're putting out now. I mean, you see them on the
yeah,
commercials every day. Everybody's
yeah,
getting
it could
paid from.
be
I mean,
exactly. It could be a vaccine. It could be, it could be any kind of thing
pill.
that you want to make
Yeah.
sure that people, just line up and do what they say, right? We're not doing enough right now to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And I'm hopeful that investigations and everything over the next 2 years, because we've only got 2
Right.
years, we don't
We
have
only got 2 years. That's right. We only have 2 years before they try to change and flip the House and the Senate again, and then make
exactly.
President Trump a lame duck president. That's why, and that's why I'm super. And Trump he learned this his first time out.
Mhm.
Because he was a new guy. He didn't know much. He surrounded himself with snakes, but now he's had 4 years to study, had 4 years to learn, and plus his other four. And they didn't put him away. I mean, and like who is it? Jack Posobiec said, if you go after the king, you better not miss.
Right.
And they missed.
Yep.
And it's game on. It's game
Yep.
on. And they're finding that he ain't playing. He's not playing around. He understands he only has 2 years too. So within these next 2 years, it's gonna be. I mean, I can't even hardly keep up with the cycling. I was on a cruise last week, and I come back, I'm like, because I don't get the internet and all that stuff on the cruise, but and I come back and all of this stuff is happening. I mean, everything is just blazing fast. We got the DOJ firing, we got FBI, top brass FBI gone. We got Brennan and all those 50 people that signed that bullshit paper, about Hunter Biden's computer wasn't real. It was Russian defense and Russian disinformation. They can't even step foot into a federal building, into a secure government building any longer. Everything's put. So it's like, and it's happening every single day. And it's like, bam, 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 bam. And he hasn't even got his people confirmed yet.
Yep. Heads are,
The exciting part. That's the exciting part.
The people we have connections with inside the different agencies, they are all on high alert. They're all panicking. They're all looking to see who their allies are, who's going to put them on a list so their head's going to roll. I mean, government employees across the board are
Oh, they're panicking.
yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the deep state is moving as fast and as hard as they can to try to secure their plants all over the place, because they know what Trump's mission is this time around, and they're trying to move. I mean, I've never seen anything like this before, but it's
No, me either. It's like exciting to watch, because it's like, oh man, and I mean, and see, here's the they outed themselves, and and this is, they have nowhere to hide right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you have Trump pulling security from Fauci, you have Trump pulling security clearances, and I mean, you have him pulling personal protections from these people. It's serious. It's serious, and yeah, and I understand that they're opening up Guantanamo Bay for the illegals, to move the illegal. No, they're moving some other people down there too. You best believe that, because a lot of these people have committed treason. I'm waiting on them to bring back General Milley to active duty to court martial him. I believe that's going to happen. And you have all these people that committed these crimes. I mean, every single prosecutor that worked on the J6 case, they're gone. They're done. They got escorted out Friday. They're done. You have these top brass at the FBI. No, this is scorched earth, and it needs to be scorched earth because all of these organizations, FBI, CIA, DNI, all of them. This is why they fear Tulsi. Tulsi dropped the bomb on them. I don't know. You were with RFK, so you probably didn't see that. I'm going to queue up. How much more time you have?
Let's do it. I want to watch it.
Okay. All right. Cool. So I'm going to go back and pull this up. And this is why they fear Tulsi, and he wasn't ready for this answer. This is Kelly, Mark Kelly, when he was let me find it. When he was questioning Tulsi Gabbard. Shoot, I can't open it. Gosh darn it. Hold on. I'm gonna find it. Here it is. I'm gonna go to YouTube and find it. I actually have it over on YouTube. Hold on, I'm gonna share my screen here. We're gonna pop this in. And this is things that we know, things that people that, and the people that they call us conspiracy theorists, right? That we just happen to be right all the time. This is one of the things that we knew Obama was doing, but Tulsi dropped the bomb on them. In this question, hold on.
Because we got to unfold
one
of these units right in front of a crowd.
Kelly.
All right, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Colonel Gabbard, when Russia was denying Assad's use of chemical weapons, they accused the U.S. of supporting terrorists. This is a line that Putin used frequently during the Syrian civil war as he supported Assad. Syrian officials made similar comments. They did it repeatedly. They did it in public. They did it at the United Nations. In 2016, you gave an interview in which you said, and this is a quote, "The U.S. is providing direct and indirect support to terrorist groups in order to overthrow the Syrian government." And in 2019, on the Democratic presidential debate stage, you said of President Trump, this is a quote, "This current president is continuing to betray us. We were supposed to be going after al-Qaeda, but over years now, not only have we not gone after al-Qaeda, our president is supporting al-Qaeda." So I'm interested to hear, what was your goal in saying these things? And did you consider, before saying them, the motives of Iran and Russia, what their motives might have been before making these claims?
Senator, as someone who enlisted in the military specifically because of al-Qaeda's terrorist attack on 9/11 and committing myself and my life to doing what I could to defeat these terrorists, it was shocking and a betrayal to me and every person who was killed on 9/11, their families and my brothers and sisters in uniform. When as a member of Congress, I learned about President Obama's dual programs that he had begun really to overthrow the regime of Syria, and being willing to, through the CIA's Timber Sycamore program that has now been made public, of working with and arming and equipping al-Qaeda in an effort to overthrow that regime, starting yet another regime change war in the Middle East. DoD train and equip program, again, begun under President Obama, is widely been known, looked at and studied, that ultimately resulted in over $500 million being used to train who they called moderate rebels, but were actually fighters working with and aligned with al-Qaeda's affiliate on the ground in Syria, all to move forward with their regime change and not acknowledging what was obvious at the time and what has unfortunately borne true, which was that a regime change war in Syria, much like the regime change wars in Iraq, the toppling of Gaddafi and Mubarak, while these are all dictators, would likely result in the rise of Islamist extremists like al-Qaeda taking power. I shed no tears for the fall of the Assad regime, but today we have an Islamist extremist who is now in charge of Syria, as I said, who danced on the streets to celebrate the 9/11 attack, who ruled over Idlib with an Islamist extremist governance, and who has already begun to persecute and kill and arrest religious minorities like Christians in Syria.
I understand.
Why that should be acceptable to anyone is beyond me.
It shouldn't
is
be.
certainly
and
not
I understand,
in our
interests. I appreciate your answer, and thank you. My concern has to do with the the tendency to repeat Russian and Syrian, and even in some cases, I think we'll get into in the closed session, Iranian information, and to discount what comes from our intelligence community.
Senator, every American deserves to know that people in our own government were providing support to our sworn enemy, Al-Qaeda. That should not be acceptable by anyone.
Thank you, Senator Kelly.
Boom, smackdown. Smackdown.
Mm-hmm.
Total smackdown, and it's true. Total smackdown. And we see what's happened this year. Joe Biden finished what Obama started, because now, like you say today, Syria is under control of Islamic extremism, right? You know, and this is what they do. They lie to your face. They go and do these things, and they lie to your face. And this is why they fear these people. And this is why Trump went and got. I mean, you know, when he say they know where the bodies are buried. She was in Congress. She understands. She knows where the bodies are buried. This is why, you know, a bunch, even on the Republican side, not even just on the Democrat side, like Mark Kelly, because he was flabbergasted, but even on the Republican side, they fear her because, you know, and I think even though, you know, they're going to have to confirm her, most of the Republicans, but if you get somebody like a Lindsey Graham or somebody like that try not to confirm her. I mean, Lindsey, we already know you're dirty. We already know you have your dirty hands in Ukraine, and you have your dirty hands in every you know, piece of war or anything that we do around the world. Lindsey Graham has his hands in it. He had his hands in the Ukraine coup in 2014, you know, with John McCain and those people, Victoria Nuland and those people like that, right? But this is what they do. But I know you were there, but I'm going to play this clip from a couple clips from RFK. I think you'll like these too, because since you were there, I mean, and it's amazing. I don't have the Bernie Sanders one, but I have
Everybody knows that one.
I have his clip on the food.
We're having epidemics of all these chronic illnesses, autoimmune diseases, neurological diseases, allergic diseases, obesity.
And before I finish that, I was in we have a German store here, right? You know, where I go and get food and some items. And you know, they have the jars on the shelves, you know, they have their preserves, they have their jams, they have all this other stuff, right? And he's going to describe what I'm talking about, but I was in a store and I just happened to start looking at the labels, right? You know, in this German store here in the United States, but it's a German store. They get all their stuff from Germany or whatever. And you look at the ingredients on there. It's like maybe 4 or 5 things. It's not all of this 20 different items of all of this poison that they put in our food, and you wonder why people are sick. But, you know, and I found it to be pretty astounding because I had never, you know, done that before. I knew that they put junk in our food, and I know that a lot of things that's in our food is banned over in Europe, you know, but he makes an excellent point here, and this is why they don't like this guy.
When my uncle was president, 3% of Americans were obese. Today, 74% of Americans are obese or overweight. No other country has anything like this. In Japan, the obesity rate is still 3%. And epidemics are not caused by genes. Genes may provide the vulnerability, but you need an environmental toxin. Something is poisoning the American people. And we know that the primary culprits are changing food supply, the switch to highly chemical intensive processed foods. We have 10,000 ingredients in our country, in our foods. The Europeans have only 400. If you buy McDonald's French fries in our country, there's 11 ingredients, my understanding. In Europe, there's only 3.
I'm going to stop it right there for a second. How can that happen? How can we have a different standard? How can McDonald's they should have the same standard worldwide, you would think, right? It's a McDonald's French fry. That's insane. It's a freaking McDonald's French fry. What do you say? 4 ingredients in over in Europe and 11 in a French fry. In a freaking French fry. Why? Why is that? Why is that happening to the people of the United and Congress and the FDA and CDC and NIH and they're letting it happen. You know, well, I honestly, I wasn't a Robert, Kennedy fan for president, right? Because I'm not a Democrat. I'm a conservative, right?
Right.
But I agreed with him, and I agree with him on a bunch of stuff. And I am so happy that Trump did select this guy because this is the best guy to do it. And I mean, they've already banned red dye. He's not even confirmed yet. He's not even confirmed yet. But just him speaking about red dye and how it's cancer causing, they've already banned red dye in our foods here in America. So what else is this guy going to do to help Americans, to help kids? Because when you go back, like you said, when his uncle was president, right? 3% obesity because we didn't have all that shit in our food. Kids didn't have all these allergies. Kids were not artistic. They didn't have all these problems. They didn't have all this asthma and stuff, right?
Yep.
And like I said, it's in the freaking food supply. I mean, we know it, but no one has done anything about it. No one, I don't know if that was my background, but nobody has done anything about it until now.
Yeah.
Until now. And they're hating on Trump for doing it. They're hating for RFK for stepping up, for doing this, and they're doing it for the people. How can you be mad at that? How can you be angry at that?
Isn't it interesting?
Right,
I mean, he understands the corporate capture better than anybody.
Better than anyone. And he studied it. So, okay, I'll finish. I'll shut up.
If you buy Fruit Loops in our country, they're loaded with food dyes, with yellow dye, red dye, blue dye, and many other ingredients. The same company makes the same product with different ingredients for Canada and Europe. And at age, we don't have good science on all these things. And that is deliberate. That's a deliberate choice not to study the things that are truly making us sick, that are not only contributing to chronic disease, but to mortalities from infectious disease. We need to get a handle on this because if we don't, it's an existential threat. Our country is not going to be destroyed because we get the marginal tax rate wrong or because we get one of these culture war issues that we've been talking about today wrong. It's going to be destroyed if we continue down this trajectory of chronic disease. We need to fix our food supply, and that's the number one.
And going back to the big picture here, 60% of Americans have a chronic disease. Mr. Kennedy, I believe for such a time as this that you're not just one of 300 million people. I think that you are the person to lead HHS to make America healthy again, that God has a divine purpose for you, and I look forward to your confirmation and working with you to make America healthy again.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
We're having
Ditto. I mean, when you hear that, right? I mean, yeah, we know it's stuff in our food. Yeah, we know it's fluoride. Talk about the fluoride, killing off. I mean, everything. The fluoride's going to go out of the water. Kids are going to be smarter. I mean, the pituitary gland or the pineal gland or whatever. Pineal gland is going to be, decrystallized because we don't have all this fluoride and stuff in our water. But when you sit there, right, because you were there. So when you sit there and hear that and you watch, right, because I know you was watching, because a lot of these centers, they get up and they'll talk and they'll get up and leave. They don't even stay for the whole thing. They come in, say their little spiel, do their little theater performance, and then they leave. They don't even stay and listen to it, to the whole testimony, right?
Yep. It's definitely theater, right? They've all lined up. They know the time that they're supposed to be on, and their staff goes through and digs up whatever dirt on Kennedy, to make the talking points. And you've seen it, right? Like some of these staffers have the speeches memorized so well that you'll see them behind the congressman or the senator actually mouthing the speech.
Right. Yeah.
That little 10-second zinger that the press that's sitting there at the press table is just waiting for, right? They're just waiting for that one quote to pull it out. So it's weird being there because you see just how disingenuous the whole process is.
Right. You see the BS. You see it, be like, they didn't even listen to what he said. They just came in, gave their little lines, and got up and left.
We
They didn't
went
care.
we went to a hearing. We've been to several, right? Because we want to
Mhm.
see what these guys have to say.
Right.
And we went to one with the CEO of Moderna, and this was probably a year and a half, 2 years ago. The Democrat staff came in and they all had masks on. The Republican
Right.
staff
Right.
had no masks, and it was just like
Right.
this very clear line. So all of the staff lined up behind the politicians,
Mhm.
masked and then not
Right.
masked.
Right.
And we had had meetings with several of the staff on both sides over the previous 2 days. None of the Democrat staffs had masks on
No.
when we were
No.
meeting with them. It was
Right.
just when they were there in front of the puppet theater with the mainstream media, all there lined up with their cameras to look, right? I mean, it's all for show. So, and that's one thing I hope people understand is that, what they're being fed, these little sound bites they're seeing, it's not the full story. And that's why it's so important to do your homework, buy books like this one, right? And buy the real Anthony Fauci and these other books that actually
Right.
show the full context for which this stuff is getting picked out, and twisted. People, more than ever before in the history of this country, we need to actually do our due diligence and dig in and do our own homework, because the truth, it's not out there. And that's why what you're doing is so important too, to just illuminate, these types of conversations. People are kind of curious, I think, at this point, what actually happens behind the curtain, right?
Mhm.
Who's pulling the
Yeah,
lever?
those that are scared, or those that can't get behind the curtain, or are afraid to go, and get behind the curtain. Because, like I said, I found out more shit when I ran for Congress in 2020, 2022, that I was like, well, yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, this is a big kabuki theater, and the ones that they want in, they get in. The ones that they don't, because the Uniparty, led by Kevin McCarthy, spent $7 million in my primary to beat me, because they didn't want me in Congress, because I would be a Tulsi Gabbard, I would be a RFK, I'd be a Donald Trump. I mean, they had us listed, man. They had me, when they were running their badass, they had me and Donald Trump hanging from the subway, because they say I would be a rubber stamp for Donald Trump. I'm too conservative. They're running all these commercials, man. You got Kevin McCarthy, because I said I was not going to vote for Kevin McCarthy for Speaker of the House, dumping $450,000 into my opponent's campaign. I mean, these are not just Democrats, and I mean, this is the whole sham of it. It's all of them. It's all of them. If they don't want their pockets hit, and they're guilty and they're corrupt, they're going to do whatever they can to continue to maintain their seats. And this is why we have to have term limits. I believe that we have to have term limits as well. I mean, and Thomas Massey, touched on it. And I actually want to play another clip. I mean, if you want to hang out, I had another. I had you for an hour, so if you want to go, you can go. It's up to you if you're
Let's
busy and want
watch
to
the
go.
clip. Let's do it.
Yeah. So I mean, I have many clips. I mean, but a lot of it has to do, and I don't get into the anti-Semitic stuff, whatever. I was called anti-Semitic because the lady I was running against was Jewish, and so they called me anti-Semitic because she was Jewish and I wasn't. So, I mean, but I mean, you have this lobby there in DC where everybody, like Tommy Massey said, everybody has a handler, basically. I mean, from APAC, right? A lot of these people, they do a lot of these things that APAC do. And the reason I mention that is because, you go back Netanyahu, because I had a lady from Israel. She wrote a book about it on the show, of how, Netanyahu used his whole population as guinea pigs with genomes, and taking their DNA and putting it with a genome company, how they're, trying to create vaccines to, you know, how do they say, help certain DNA. Well, of course, they'll use that for war. I mean, but when you have people that are controlled by foreign entity, because of the money, that becomes a problem. And this is why, I was definitely going to sponsor a bill and run against, and I ran on, not having dual citizenship in our Congress. We shouldn't have dual citizenship in our, and none of the people that serve us should be dual citizens, because in that fact, they don't have the best interest of the people at heart, because it's gonna that money is gonna weigh a factor. And if we had term limits, I think it'll stop a bunch of that. But I'm gonna play another clip from RFK, which I found. I mean, I knew this because I did some studies and I've said some things about it on the show previous. But he dropped a bomb on this senator when she asked him about something. He said, because they always try to make things out to be racist, right? You know how they do, right? And so when she asked him the question, about something he said about Black community, right? The immune systems. This is something he said. I found this very astounding that, you know what? They don't want this truth to come out. And what I found astounding about this, that a lot of Black people got mad after he said this. A lot of what I call the gatekeepers. I mean, what he said here was, I called it the mother of all bombs, because it said a lot. It said a lot that has to do with, especially the vaccine programs, and how a lot of Black boys, especially because they did a lot of studies, that they're more susceptible to being and have been diagnosed with learning deficiencies or because of the vaccines and stuff. And this is one of the reasons I feel that is because he actually said it.
I have you said you were on a show on February 26, 2021, an interview with Dr. Judy Mikovits, where you said the following, and I quote, "We should not be giving Black people the same vaccine schedule that's given to whites because their immune system is better than ours." Can you please explain what you meant?
There's a series of studies, I think most of them by Poland, that show that to particular antigens that Blacks have a much stronger reaction. There's differences in reaction to different products by different races.
So I have 17 seconds left. Let me just ask you then. So what different vaccine schedule would you say I should have received? What different vaccine schedule should I have received?
I mean, the Poland article suggests that Blacks need fewer antigens than.
This is so dangerous.
You get the same measles vaccine.
Mr. Kennedy, with all due respect, that is so dangerous. Your voice would be a voice that parents would listen to. That is so dangerous. I will be voting against your nomination because your views are dangerous to our state and to our country.
I mean, do you think science is dangerous, Senator? This is published peer-reviewed studies.
I yield.
Senator Collins, who would have.
And finally,
they don't want to hear the truth, right? I mean, like you said, is science dangerous? It's science, and they try to make it seem like it's him. He's just.
This is why
talking about the peer reviews.
He's perfect. He's perfect for the job because he knows what the science is, and he knows exactly where the science is flawed. He knows the data better than anyone. Like he had that interview way back in 2021, right?
2021.
And then he's talking about, and then he can just quickly go, oh yeah, there's this series of studies by this guy named Poland, and it says this, right? And she doesn't want to hear it, right? Because that wasn't the answer that she wanted. What she wanted was the gotcha. So she cut him off, and then was like, this is dangerous. And it's like, and he's like, well, no, I mean, it's science. So
and it's just the science, and it's not my science. It's the peer review stuff. I mean, and here it is, and for someone like that, for me being a Black guy, me having Black boys, they are grown now. Thank God I didn't, do all the vaccine stuff. But it's true. And what he was saying was, before she cut him off, because I read the study. I went and found the study. I read the study. What he was saying is that the schedules are off, because let's say you and I, for, and I don't even know the schedules, right? But let's just say every 5 years, the schedule says we're supposed to get the MMR vaccine every 10 years or whatever, right? Well, for you, it might be every 10 years, right? For me, it's only required for me to take it every 5. Every 20 years. Because I have because of my blood type or whatever, because of my immune system or whatever he says, we build up higher antigens. So something you have to take every 10 years, I may only have to take every 20 years. So the schedules are going to be different based on who we are as people. That's what he's trying to say. And they don't want to hear that because Big Pharma is pushing, these schedules on everything. I had a schedule of vaccines back in the 80s. I mean, and when you look at that, the form of the schedule of vaccines, they pump all of this poison into these kids, every kid's at birth, first 6 months, and it's the same for everybody. And they have these schedules where the kids have to have these vaccines to go to school and everything, to where they may not even need it. They may not even need it because of who they are, because of, their blood type, because of, they're black or they're white, or, because they're they may not even need it. So that's what that review, that he mentioned to Poland is saying, is that you can't have everybody on the same schedule. One size does not fit all. And she didn't want to hear that. Well, why the fuck not? Excuse my language. Why do you not want to hear something, especially being a black woman? And he's talking about something that's black. He's talking about something that may be good for black people. He may be talking about something that's good for these black boys that's being diagnosed at a higher rate with autism and learning disabilities than the white boys. Why wouldn't you want to hear that, lady? Right? And so, yeah, I'm happy. I'm ecstatic. And they better confirm this guy. But I'm ecstatic that at least he's there, and he needs to get confirmed, because I think if he gets confirmed, a lot of this crap is going to stop, and we will be healthy again here in America, because it's astounding what they put into our food, into our bodies at an early age, And, and if people, I say this, I don't care, you want to call me conspiracy theory or whatever, there's studies out there that they keep hiding. We have a guest right here in the Lion's Den. They're hiding her studies. They're hiding studies about the vaccine. She's injured. She knows. She's been there. She's flown to the NIH. She knows, right? What else are they hiding? I've read studies, about a bunch of stuff that they're hiding these studies because, one, they don't want us to be healthy. Because if we're healthy, guess what? They don't make money. And it's a shame. But so okay.
Profits over people.
Yeah. But what other thing that I was going to clip out? I mean, I forget now. I go into my thing. We got Kenya withdraws from the WHO. I got that. We got Tulsi. We hit that. We got RFK. Okay. And okay. Oh, okay. So this one I want to play. I want to play this Ted Pike, because I talked about the Israel lobby, and this is a congressman for Ted Pike, and then I'll let you go. I'm not going to keep you.
Hello, I'm Ted Pike, and
this is Ted Pike back in 1987, and and I play this because this clip that he was talking about. You say this now you get. And he probably got labeled as anti-Semitic back then too, but we get labeled as anti-Semitic when we say stuff like this. But it's actually a danger, because when you're beholden to another country, when you're beholden to people that control our government, we don't get people like RFK. We don't get people like Tulsi Gabbard. We don't get people like Kash Patel, because the people with the money that don't want them pay for them not to get in. So, I'm just going to play this.
This is my wife, Lynn. Today, a foreign government, Israel, operates the most powerful lobby in Congress. This is AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. Through control of Congress, Israel demands and gets nearly $5 billion annually. No elected official dares criticize Israel for fear the Jewish lobby will accuse him of anti-Semitism, the kiss of death for any politician. The president also knows what Israel wants, Israel gets. To act otherwise is political suicide. The mass media, founded and controlled primarily by Jews, manipulates the spigot of information out of which heartland America drinks. The message of this contaminated source is, if you criticize Israel, you are anti-Semitic. Be safe, keep your head down, or you are fair game for being knocked off by the Zionist shooting gallery.
As a result, our president and elected officials are slaves to political correctness when it comes to Jews and Israel. They cannot seriously criticize Israel, especially as the source of Mideast strife and terrorism. They cannot suggest an end of aid to Israel. They cannot even protest Zionist control of Congress.
I put this in here too because President Trump cut off all foreign aid to all countries except two. One of them was Israel and the other one is Egypt. And I understand why Egypt, because all the Gazans are getting pushed there. But when you have a lobby like Israel, you have a lobby now like the pharmaceutical companies. How do we win as Americans? How do we win as Americans,
Yeah.
you know, when we have corruption, you know, like this and, you know, within our government walls, right? And so, you know, hopefully we got 2 years, right?
2 years.
We got 2 years to try to get it right.
2
You
years.
know, we got 2 years to try to get it right. And, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll continue to watch the scorched earth that is President Trump. You know, and again, like, I mean, it was a classic line. I love the line from Postal. I'm probably going to keep using it. Thank you, Jack Posobiec. But if you go after the king, you better not miss. You better not miss. So, but you guys go ahead, buy the book. Buy the book. Here, I'm going to put it up one more time. I'm going to share the screen here to make sure everybody get it. It's called Worth a Shot by Carolyn Pover. It is our guest, Brianne Dressen's personal story. So I'm getting it. I'm ordering it. I don't have Kindle, but I'm ordering it. I'm gonna get it to be here this week, and I'm definitely gonna read it because I want to hear the rest of the secrets that you were talking about in there.
Yeah.
I want to hear the rest of the
What you have
secrets.
to
You guys go get the books at Amazon. Yeah. Oh yeah. Because I'm curious of what else is in the book that you're going to share with us, and we really appreciate you coming in, the Lions Den, sharing your story. I hope you continue to get better. You know, well, and let me ask you this, and then you can answer it if you want, but I know you feel betrayed by our government. Are you pissed off or angry at yourself for being a volunteer?
Oh yeah, of course, you know. Hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting to see, you know, just how many people, like, whenever people speak out publicly about their injury, we always get shamed actually from both sides. We get shamed from the left for speaking out because we're going to kill people by talking at all. And then we get shamed actually by the far right for being dumb enough to get the shot in the first place. Neither of them are productive.
Right. I mean, I had family members to get the shot. So, I mean, I had close friends to get the shot, even though I've espoused, you know, from day one, don't you do that. Don't, you know, still have people get it. I mean, because they trust the government, you know, and you know, and they believe you're doing the right thing. You know, you definitely won't get shamed here, you know, ever here on the Radical Republicans live show in the Lions Den. I mean, because you felt, I mean, that you were doing the right thing, and we can't fault you. We can't fault you. Fault anyone that, you know, they feel they were doing the right thing, you know, to help him, you know. So,
Life
you know,
is, you know, we're all learning.
Yeah. We learn, like you say, hindsight is 2020.
Yep.
You know, definitely. And you know, like I say, I hope you continue to get better. I hope your lawsuit goes well for you. I mean, since you didn't sign away your rights, and you're the only one in America. I can't believe that. The only person in America that has a lawsuit.
Yep. That's crazy.
Wow. Well, thank you. And we'll have to have you back. Feel free to come back anytime you like, you know, whenever you want to talk. Any get any updates on anything with your case or anything, you can come back and share here in Lions Den. So thank you so much. It was great to meet you, and it's a pleasure having you here in the Lions Den sharing your story. Thank you so much, Brianne.
Thank you. Okay.
Have a nice night.
You too.
Bye-bye. There it is, man. Courageous lady. Courageous. She's going up against the machine. She's going up against the machine, and they're trying to wait her out. You know that's what they're trying to do, right? Right? You know they're just trying to wait her out, man. And this is what happens. They know what was going on. They knew from Jump Street. They knew what was going on. I mean, from 2020, they had these people. She said it. They flew them, Fauci. They flew them to the NIH to study them to see what they know, and they still push this shit that it was safe and effective. Nuremberg 2.0 is all I can say. Line them up. President Trump, line them up. Cash Patel, line them up. Pam Bondi, line them up. RFK, line them up. Tulsi Gabbard, you find some shit, line them up. Line them up, man. They knew they have all this. Line up every freaking pharmaceutical scene. Line up Perta, all them people for Pfizer, Moderna. Line them up. Line them up. Line them up one by one. They've destroyed so many lives. They've destroyed so many lives. Let me hit another one of my sponsors real quick here. Are you prepared for the unexpected? Here in a world where chaos seems to lurk around every corner, being prepared is no longer a choice, it's a necessity. That's where the wellness company comes in. Imagine having the peace of mind that you're equipped to handle any medical crisis, from tick bites to the latest pandemic. The wellness company's medical emergency kit is your lifeline, packed with essential medications like ivermectin, emergency antibiotics, antivirals, and more. This kit is your ultimate preparedness solution. The wellness company's teams of renowned medical professionals, including Dr. Peter McCullough, Dr. James Thorpe, Dr. Harvey Rich, Dr. Drew Pinsky, and more truth-seeking doctors, have designed a kit that sets the gold standard for safety prevention. Don't wait for the next crisis to strike. Visit, and I get this because I'm under a new company. I'm with the Maverick Broadcasting Network now. So you're going to visit twc.health/MBN. MBN, Mike Bravo November, and use promo code MBN for an exclusive 10% discount. Prepare today, rest easy for tomorrow. And also, I'm gonna do one more because I want to show you guys this. I want to show you guys our new coffee. Supermassive organic black coffee. And here it is for you. There it is, Supermassive black coffee. What it is, it's Supermassive black coffee is the dark brew that fuels the fire of rebellion, empowering free thinkers to rise against the establishment with every bold sip. Always 100% organic. So shop now. We only use 100% organic beans to make our fire roasted gourmet coffee. Break the chains of mediocrity with Supermassive black coffee, the brew of the defiant. Where's my new sheet at? Crafted from 100% organic beans, our coffee is fire roasted in a Victorian era roaster, a relic from an age where true craftsmanship thrives. So what you're going to do, you're going to go to supermassiveblackcoffee.com. You see that up in the header. Supermassiveblackcoffee.com, and you're going to use code Maverick for 20% off. You can use code Maverick for 20% off. So definitely go to supermassiveblackcoffee.com, use the code Maverick, and get 20% off. There you go. There's the coffee. I got to go try it. Man, fascinating story with Brianne. I mean, we had a lot going this week, right? We had a lot going this week, and I see you guys over there on the Rumble channel. I believe I'm going to hit another Rumble station too, because and see who's over on the other Rumble channels and everything, because this is new. There are a lot of things, going on that's new. Just checking out. So I'm going to hit a couple of other Rumble stations over here. Let's see who's over here. All right, so I got my usuals over here. Hey, Donnie Girl, Fauci should be charged from back in the 80s. I know, right? With the AZT, with the AIDS thing. That was Fauci. If you guys don't know, what's the movie? The Dallas Buyers Club, I believe it is, right? The Dallas Buyers Club is all about Anthony Fauci, man. It's all about his AZT, how he poisoned these people with AIDS with AZT, right? Fauci, man, he's a fucking mass murderer. Fauci is a mass murderer and needs to be charged. And I'm glad that Trump pulled his personal protection. Did you know that Biden we were paying for Fauci's personal protection? Trump pulled. He's like, nah, Nah, dude, you've made so much money. Go hire your own. Go hire your own private security team. People not paying for your shit no more. People not paying for it no more. And so I see Danny Girl over here. Thank you, Jackie. I see you over there, Jackie. I see Jamie Cologne. What's up, brother? How did the McDonald's in Japan always taste better? Bro, right? Right? Not only that, right? It was the McDonald's, it was the Taco Bell, it was the KFC. Okay, so if you guys have never been overseas, right? Let me tell this story. Now, like I said, I got a bunch of stuff, but and I might get to it, I might not. We got the helicopter crash, you've seen that. Then we got so much going on. And we got the plane crash. You just watch the news, you see stuff like that. We just want to talk. So Jamie, my partner in crime, right? That's gone overseas with me, on our flights over to Japan at Sugi, Japan, all over the world, really. Me and Jamie have flown all over the world together. And like on base, right? They have the McDonald's, the KFC, they have the Taco Bell, they have all this stuff on base right there, that Sugi base in Japan. And you go and buy this stuff, right? You go get McDonald's, and it tastes so much better. And it tastes so much better. And like like Jamie say, how did the McDonald's in Japan always taste better? That's why they didn't put all the shit in the food. They didn't put all the stuff in the food overseas, right? And I mean, and not really knowing and not really understanding, you think a McDonald's hamburger is a McDonald's hamburger. A McDonald's French fry is a McDonald's French fry. But we found out tonight, or we found out listening to RFK last week in his testimony, that it's not. That it's not the same, right? Man, and they are fighting against this guy. Makes you wonder, right? It makes you wonder, why are they fighting against this guy? Now, I no longer, I don't even eat McDonald's here, to be honest. I haven't had McDonald's in shit, I don't even know how long, right? But yeah, man, Jamie, dude, you're right. I know you're listening. You're right, bro. It always tasted better overseas. I mean, all the food overseas tasted better than it does here. I mean, when you go to now if you go to the Philippines and you're walking down the side drive or something like that, and you're getting a monkey on the stick, it's not gonna cost. It's not gonna taste it. All right, or you're getting a balut or something. Man, yeah, you Navy boys know what I'm talking about. You Navy guys know what I'm talking about. Subic Bay, QB Point, Angeles City. Okay, so you guys know what I'm talking about the food, right? Okay, so I mean, and Jackie, says using arsenic as an antibiotic in poultry. I mean, people, man, right? And they don't want this guy in to stop it. Every American, I don't care if you're a Democrat, I don't care if you're liberal, I don't care if you're conservative, I don't care if you're Republican, I don't care if you're Green Party, independent, whatever. Just listening to RFK's testimony about just the food supply, you should be calling and demanding that your senator, right, confirm this guy. It's basically a life or death situation. That's why we're sick in this country. We're obese. 73% of the people in America are obese compared to 3% in Japan. 73%. And this is why we have all these sicknesses. You have the diabetes. You have all the arthritis. You have all of this bull going on in your bodies, man. In our bodies. I'm not sick right now. I don't take any medication. Zero medication. I deal with my old age pain or whatever. My bones crack a little bit. My knees hurt from football or whatever. I'm not taking any medications, and I haven't been sick in 25 years, 20 years. Well, I take that back. Once. I had COVID for like 4 days. I had COVID for 4 days. Kicked the shit out of COVID in 4 days and moved on. But that was the only sickness. I caught that from being someone. But no, I haven't been sick in like 30 years, man. The last time I was sick, I took the flu shot in the Navy. Last time I was sick, I took the flu shot in the Navy, and I would never take another flu shot, and I haven't. And that was back 1999 or something like that. It was crazy, but I mean, Fauci's sick. Yeah, you're right. He's sicker than Hannibal. So expect Kane is wrapped in a bed with FDA and pharma. Well, you know Kane is in Virginia. So hey, as I'm going over here, you guys over there on Getter, thank you. I know you guys popped over on the new channel. It just wasn't as fun, man. You guys can't put the bears up. You can't dance, man. You can't clap. I see Andy M over there. You know, I see baseballs, TBB, my Navy brother. The Chiefs mess is definitely open on Getter. So yeah, man, Getter is so much fun. You got all the fun stuff over there to do, right? You know, got Lone Star Lady over there. I think I saw, who is that? Mama Love, you know, K3624. We got Stormies. Everybody in the Getter chat, man. Yeah, General Flynn posted a Time's Up tweet. You saw that? Lone Star Lady, you saw that? General Flynn said, okay, time's up. You guys better confirm or all hell is going to break loose. All hell is going to break loose. I'm just waiting to see what happens Monday. Man, I'm waiting to see what happened Monday. Trump went through it last week. He's not playing, man. And I'm going to say it again. Thank you, Jack Posobiec, for saying it. I'm still in it. I'm still in it, Jack. I'm sorry, but if you go after the king, your ass better not miss. You better not miss. And everyone know, and here's the thing, right? Oh, that was, okay, Stormy Cager, Donnie Girl over on, okay, I got you. Just in case I saw you, Stormy's over there. All right, thank y'all for going over there. I mean, you know, that's a new station. It'll pick up traction. You know, you don't have all the fun stuff over here in Getter, but it'll pick up traction. It's no big deal. You know, I just come to you guys. I love you guys. So that's why I'm here every Sunday night, 8 p.m., except when I'm on vacation. Except when I'm on vacation. I mean, so Sam Altman is a young Fauci. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So if you guys want to check out, man, this chat is like Atlanta over here on Getter, man. Love you guys. Good night, Elizabeth. See you. All right, so okay, I'm gonna play some more clips. I'm gonna get on. I mean, because I want to touch on a few things. Actually, I want to touch on a couple of things, and you know, I'm not gonna have time to get into it, but I think here it is. I honestly think that we should be very. Trump already has an Army Corps of Engineers in North Carolina. There you go. Boom. There you go, man. I mean, what Biden did to those people, left these people hanging, you know. But I'm here to tell you guys that as of yesterday, we need to be very, very fearful. And I can't find it. Well, let me see if I can pop it up. But we need to be very, very fearful of a couple of things. I think.
Una cosa importante.
And this isn't it, but I'm gonna pop this in first while I look for the other one because I had some audio difficulties and a few of my clips didn't come over, or they wouldn't play. But this is what leadership looks like. This right here is what leadership looks like. I want you guys to check out this, and this just came down not too long ago. You know, that's why it's first on list. This just came down not too long ago. This is after Marco Rubio's trip to Panama. We're getting the Panama Canal back, guys. We're getting the Panama Canal back. And we didn't have to go to war. We didn't have to go steal it. We didn't have to go take it. We didn't have to go bomb Panama like all these freaking Democrats and these liberals want to fearmonger and say Trump's going to do. It's going to go to war. Got to go steal Panama. No, we don't have to steal shit because Trump knows how to negotiate. Trump knows how to negotiate. I want you guys to listen as well. If you can understand Spanish, you will see it. But if not, has the captions. Check it out.
Una cosa importante, que es una decisión que adopté y se la comuniqué. El memorándum de entendimiento del año 2017 sobre la ruta de la seda de Belt and Road Initiative no será renovado por mi gobierno. Eso es así. Vamos a estudiar la posibilidad de si se puede terminar antes o no, pero creo que le toca en 1 o 2 años la renovación, porque es cada 3. Así que esa iniciativa que se firmó, cuando se firmó, en el tiempo que se firmó, no será renovada por mi gobierno. Creo que esta visita abre un camino para construir una nueva etapa de relaciones. Así lo veo yo, así lo sentí de parte del secretario Marco Rubio, y a la vez tratar en la medida de lo posible de que se incrementen las inversiones de los Estados Unidos en Panamá. Le expliqué una serie de proyectos de infraestructura que el gobierno tiene en carpeta, en cartera, con el ánimo de que las conozcan y en su momento que se hagan las licitaciones, que comenzarán muy pronto, pues se pueda entrar.
So what you just saw on a Sunday, if you guys missed, on a Sunday, President Trump sent Marco Rubio to Panama on a Sunday, today, on a Sunday, to let Panama know we're taking well, we can do it peacefully and let's do it, right? But we're getting the Panama Canal back. So, and like, this gentleman said, they're looking at the feasibility in the studies to see if they can end the memorandum of understanding with China. China's done. China's control over the Panama Canal is done. The United States is getting it back, and that's what leadership looks like. That's what President Trump leadership looked like. Didn't have to fire a bullet, didn't have to go to war, didn't have to do anything. Sent Marco Rubio down there on his first trip, successfully, on his first trip, on a Sunday. We're getting the Panama Canal back, and they're looking at doing it early. And they're looking at doing it early. They're like, okay, we're not going to renew it anyway, right? That's what leadership, look, man, that's what it looks like. Yeah, I met Stormy. Stormy says, Trump has his administration working 20 hours a day like he does. You damn right. The man doesn't sleep. And he's like, if I don't sleep, y'all not sleep. Marco, get your ass down to Panama on a Sunday, and, let the guy know that we want the Panama Canal back and we're not going to take no for an answer. So it is what it is. Right? 2 weeks. 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks. And this, it may not feel good to you liberals, but put it like this. I won't even say liberals, but if you love America, right? If you love America, doesn't this feel good? And what do you guys think about the tariffs, man? I see the tariffs on Canada and Mexico and a plus up 10% on China. And you got Trudeau up on, TV trying to be tough. Man, sit down, boy. Up on there trying to be. We don't get shit from Canada. We get Hellmann's mayonnaise, and guess what? Duke's is better, and Duke's is made in South Carolina. So if you guys eat mayonnaise and you do Hellmann's is GMO modified anyway. You don't need that shit. Duke's is natural. Go to South Carolina or use Duke's mayonnaise or whatever. We don't get anything from China that we don't already have. Nothing. Trudeau, you're trying to talk to the American people, begging. You're up on TV whining. Please make him stop. We don't need to do this. It's going to hurt you. No, it's not. It's going to hurt you, though, and I bet you fold. Okay, you're going to try to come back with tariffs? Watch when Trump go to 100% on your ass. Watch you fold. Watch you fold like a cheap suit. Yeah, that's what I have in my refrigerator anyway. I have Dukes. I have Dukes anyway, right? But, Trudeau, what? You're going to try to stand in a ring now? You're going to try to stand in a ring with a championship fighter, right? So this is Trudeau right now. He's stepping into the ring with a championship fighter, and he's never had a fight. Right? For all you people complain, oh, we're going to have energy. Energy's going to cost so much, and we don't get nothing from Canada. And then, and then you had this stupid cuck, Chuck Schumer, up there in his little theater having a can of Corona and some Corona avocado, saying, if you're watching the Super Bowl, it's going to cost you more because avocados are going to be more expensive and Corona's going to be more expensive. You dumbass. And anybody that actually believes that right now, you are a dumbass. Because guess what? The Super Bowl's next week, and you can go in the stores right now and you can buy up all the Corona and all the avocados you want. And it ain't going to cost you shit more for the Super Bowl. Stop, man. Stop trying to put fear into the American people. Stop with all the theater. Stop with all the garbage, man. Your Super Bowl is not going to cost you anymore because those products are already here in the United States, you dumb son of a bee. Get it out. Cut it out. Just stop it. Just stop it. Okay? I mean, it's just insane how these people get up here with theater. He had his little Corona and his avocados. I'm like, you are a freaking idiot. You are an idiot trying to fearmonger the American people. And all of you American people that are believing it, stop. Just stop. It doesn't make sense. If you think your Super Bowl is going to cost more, go to Walmart, go to Mall, wherever you get your beer. Go buy your Corona tonight. Go buy. There's a big bin of avocados at the store. Go buy your avocados. Buy them hard and green. They'll be soft by next week, and you can use them for your guacamole. Canadians are more pissed than Americans. We don't get shit from Canada. Talking about energy. We don't need your energy. Oh, and guess what? Okay. Wait until Trump push it to 100%. You want to step in the ring with the fighter? You want to step in the ring with the champ? It's only at 25% now. And you stepping in the ring trying to match 25%? If Trump pushes it to 50%, you're going to shit your pants, Trudeau. He pushes it to 100, you're going to just fall. I mean, and you'll probably just quit because you already he's already beat you. He already put you out. You're resigning in March, right? Then you already resigned, supposed to end in March. And now you want to stand up there like a tough guy? Cut it out. Cut it out, man. You can't step in the ring with the champ and you've never been in a fight. You've never been in a fight. Right? And so I mean, you don't see Xi Jinping up on TV. You know, he's like, all right, whatever. You know, whatever. And as far as energy, here it is. And here it is for all you other people that's scared of tariffs. Everything's going to come back to the United States. We outsource and we import everything. We don't need to do that. We don't when Trump was in office last time, and we were energy independent. We were actually energy superior. We were the number one producer of oil and the number one exporter of oil over Saudi Arabia, over all those oil producing nations. That's why they were freaking out. That's why gas was so low, dumbasses. That's why gas was so low, because we had our own energy. We had our own supply of oil. You guys remember when gas prices were low when Trump was in? Well, that's why, because we had our own energy. That's what happens. Everything gets cheaper. Gas prices, food prices, everything gets cheaper when you are able to control and have your own energy sources. And that's what we're going back to. That's what we're going back to. We're going back to being energy independent. We're going back to where America, if we want to, you guys remember, some of you may be too young, but America fed the world. America fed the world. We didn't import anything. We don't need to import anything. Like Trump says, we have everything we need right here in America. And if we don't, everything's coming back. All manufacturing needs to come back to the United States. Everything needs to come back. We should not have to get our drugs from China and wonder if it's laced with freaking fentanyl. We shouldn't have to wait to get our drugs. There should not be a supply chain shortage of medicines that Americans need because we're dependent on China. It shouldn't happen. Shouldn't happen. And it's not under Trump. But like I said, we got 2 years. We're going scorched earth. It is going 1,000 miles an hour. And like I said, I'm not going to even touch on these crashes, man. If you guys want to see the crashes, it's unfortunate, it looks like that one Philly thing looks like a rocket coming down. It's just nosediving. It's just unbelievable what happened or what has happened. And you talk about the the pilot. Yeah, it was a female. We have to wait, and I knew something was strange when they were, holding, withholding the name for so many days. Yeah, it's something strange. But I'm trying to find this, man. Okay, this is for the black people too, right? Where's this clip, man? I'm trying to find this clip. Seriously, hold on. Let me see if these are it. Okay.
Thank you, Democrat.
Okay. Okay. So I found it. I think we have to be very, very scared. Republicans, listen up. Conservatives, listen up. What took place at the DNC yesterday, we should be very, very frightened of what's going to take place. Because they just elected a new chair. You're looking at him on the screen. That's the new chair of the DNC, straight liberal. I guess they didn't have it. I guess they got tired of having black women run shit over there at the DNC. Because this is the first white dude, I think, since 2011. They've had minorities, mainly black women, running the DNC over there. And I guess the DNC said DEI is enough. But what did they do? I'm so afraid of this DNC now. I'm so afraid. I fear that they have put the Republicans in charge of this country for the next 2 decades. With this guy, let me play a little bit. I'm not gonna play the whole thing. Let me play a little bit.
Thank you so much. It's the honor of my life. I want you all to give a DNC welcome to our new chair of the Democratic National Committee, Chairman Ken Martin.
He's out of Minnesota. This guy's out of Minnesota, like where the vice presidential candidate Tim Walz is from. You saw the jihadi standing back there. Ilhan Omar, the jihadi. You saw her standing back there. All right, and so, but this is. All right, so I'm taking them out. So that's one, and then I want to play this other, and I think this is the one, and I hope I have it. But this is the one where I believe. I mean, this is the one we really have to worry about. This guy. We really have to worry about this guy. I hope this is it.
Are you ready to go on the offense? Are you ready to go on the offense? We have to win back our young people. I am the only candidate in this race for any of these positions that is under 30. We had a 20-point shift to the right of our young people. We must show our young people we give a damn about them, that we support them, and we invest in them. I have raised over $11 million in the past year to support the future of our party, because I don't just tweet, I don't just talk the talk, I also walk the walk and I knock the knock in doors across the country, but I'm counting on you in this moment right now. I need your support. Please vote for me. Thank you so much.
So that's the new vice chair of the DNC. He won. He's one of them. The crisis actor, David Hogg. The crisis actor, David Hogg. We have to fear. That's the guy, and those are the men, but that's the guy that's going to secure the Democrats, the young male vote. Bring the masculinity back to the DNC. I'm predicting a mass exodus because let me tell you something. There ain't a young black brother, heterosexual, black, Hispanic, whatever, that's gonna fall in line and get behind David fucking Hogg. Okay, I just gotta be honest. There's no serious young black, young Hispanic male, alpha male, heterosexual, and probably a lot of gay guys that's gonna get behind that guy. That's gonna get and his dad is ex-CIA, FBI, or something. You guys have to bring back that guy is the crisis actor. Remember, on the beach, he started shit on the beach with the guy with the boogie board, and then I think it was the Parkland shooting down in Florida. He wasn't even there, but he came and gave told everybody what happened. He wasn't even there. Crisis actor, that guy, his dad. Remember, CIA, FBI, something. I believe it's CIA. That guy. Let me ask you this: what happened to? It wasn't no good black women. I know black women ran. What's wrong? DNC, they weren't good enough. Were the black women not good enough for you anymore, DNC? You guys went away from the black women. You guys, first time elected white dude to be chairman. And David Hogg, are you guys serious? Are you guys serious? Hey, I'm thinking there's going to be a mass exodus. A total mass exodus. Who the hell? Who the hell? How did that guy even get voted? Gosh. Uh, the competition couldn't have been that strenuous. Couldn't have been that strenuous, right? Where David Hogg is now I honestly feel sorry for the Democrats. I feel sorry for the Democrats, man. I think Kamala screwed it up for everybody, man. They're like, yeah, he's a lunatic. He's sick. And he's and when they talk about the Constitution, right? The Democrats always talk about the Republicans, Donald Trump and the Republicans, MAGA is a threat to democracy. They don't understand the Constitution. They always want to espouse the Constitution, but we know it's a lie. We know they don't believe in the Constitution. We know they're just a bunch of freaking communists. We know that, right? And they just prove it. They elected Hogg, and he doesn't even believe in the Second Amendment. Okay, FBI. His dad is FBI. Okay. Thanks, Andy M. And he doesn't even believe in the Second Amendment. He's a gun control freak. I like that, Andy M. Kamala ruined it, and she ain't black. And she's not black, right? Kamala ruined everything, man. They're like, nah, we get these black women up out of here. They can't win. We can't win. Unbelievable. But they really, really, really put fear in my heart. Put fear in my heart. So I'm gonna play something for you guys, right? And I'm gonna ask you, because we're going on the closeout here, but I'm gonna ask you this, right? So AI, and man, I'm gonna come out of here. People are gonna think I'm anti-Semitic today, but anti-Semitic is actually the wrong term, right? Because you actually have to hate all Semitic people to be anti-Semitic, and a lot of people that's in the Middle East are Semitic. So let's just stop the bullshit, right? Before it starts. So I'm gonna play this. So and I actually saw this on Joe Rogan, and they have AI now to where they can translate speeches like Adolf Hitler's speeches into English. And I'm one of them people, the only thing that we've ever saw, and I'm not saying Adolf Hitler is a good guy or anything like that, right? I'm not saying that. But Adolf Hitler was Germany first. He was, I mean, yeah, he didn't, he was a eugenicist when it to, sick kids and stuff like that, right? I'm not talking about that part, right? But when you listen to this, I'm gonna play this in English, right? And when you and when you hear this, right, it almost it has like an America First tone to it. It has an America First tone to it. So I'm gonna play it for you. You guys can hate me later or whatever the case. It's not like I give a shit, right? If you hate me, but I'm gonna play it because like I said, I saw it on Joe Rogan, and I thought it was pretty interesting that that they do this with AI. And hey, Vic, what are you doing? I see you. I'm over there. Yeah, they laid my friend Kim to rest. They had her ceremony yesterday, and I was able to call in. So I couldn't be there personally. I heard it was packed. And you guys did a great job, sending Kim out the way that she should have been sent out. But so I'm going to share this. So I want you guys to listen to this, and then I want your honest opinion. Okay, I want your honest opinion. Okay, so it's Hitler in English AI reconstruction. Is what it is. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna play it. I'm not gonna comment on it. Just gonna play it. So
start eating more of
we
these.
gotta go through this. All right, so hold on. Okay, so let me pop this in. So I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna let it run. It's 14 minutes, so we're gonna go a little over tonight, but who cares, right? We're gonna go over a little bit tonight because I want to get your opinion on this. Okay, I want to see what you guys think about it. Just listen to the speech. don't think of Adolf Hitler, because every time that we've heard Adolf Hitler, in German, just anything about Adolf Hitler, and when Germans speak, it's like, hey, or whatever they say. I'm not German, and I don't speak German, but every time you hear Germans speak and stuff like that, it's always rough, it's always hard, and it seems that they're just digging and want to kill and die, because it's just such a hard language, right? So, but anyway, I'm gonna play this and just see what you guys think about it.
Meine Arbeit für richtig hältst. Ob du glaubst, dass ich fleißig gewesen bin, dass ich gearbeitet habe, dass ich mich in diesen Jahren für dich eingesetzt habe. German compatriots, National Socialists. 12 years ago, when, as the leader of the strongest party, I was entrusted by the deceased Reich President von Hindenburg with the office of Chancellor, Germany found herself faced with the same situation internally as the one that today faces it externally. The forces of economic destruction and annihilation of the Versailles dictate led to a situation that had gradually become a permanent one, namely the existence of almost 7 million unemployed, 7 million part-time workers, a destroyed farmers class, a ruined industry, and a commerce that had become correspondingly prostrate. The German ports were nothing but ship cemeteries. The financial situation of the country threatened at any moment to lead to a collapse, not only of the state, but also of the provinces and of the communities. The decisive thing, however, was this. Behind this methodical destruction of Germany's economy, there stood the specter of Asiatic Bolshevism. It was there then, just as much as it is there today. In the years before our assumption of power, the bourgeois world was incapable of opposing this development effectively on a small scale, just as it is incapable of doing so today on a large scale. Even after the collapse of 1918, this bourgeois world had failed to realize that an old world was vanishing and a new one being born, and that there's no use in supporting and thus artificially maintaining what has been found to be decayed and rotten, but that something healthy must be substituted for it. A social structure that had become obsolete had cracked, and every attempt to maintain it was bound to fail. It was no different from today on a large scale, when the bourgeois states are doomed, and when only clearly defined and ideologically consolidated national communities can survive the most difficult crisis Europe has seen in many centuries. We were granted only 6 years of peace after January 30th, 1933. During these 6 years, tremendous feats were achieved, and even greater ones were planned, so many and such huge ones that they caused envy among our democratic, impotent neighbors. But this was decisive, that we succeeded during these 6 years with superhuman exertions to restore the German nation militarily, that is, to imbue it with the spirit of resistance and self-assertion, rather than to equip it with the material war potential. The horrid fate that is now taking shape in the East, and that exterminates hundreds of thousands in the villages and marketplaces, in the country and in the cities, will be warded off in the end and mastered by us with the utmost exertion and despite all setbacks and hard trials. But this was decisive, that we succeeded during these 6 years with superhuman exertions to restore the German nation militarily, that is, to imbue it with the spirit of resistance and self-assertion, rather than to equip it with a material war potential. The horrid fate that is now taking shape in the East, and that exterminates hundreds of thousands in the villages and marketplaces, in the country and in the cities, will be warded off in the end and mastered by us with the utmost exertion and despite all setbacks and hard trials. But if this is possible at all, it is only because a change has taken place in the German people since 1933. If Germany today were the Germany envisaged by the Versailles Treaty, Europe would long since have been swept away by the hurricane from Central Asia. It is hardly necessary to argue with those eternal blockheads who maintain that an unarmed Germany would, owing to its impotence, not have become the victim of this Jewish international world plot. Such reasoning would amount to a reversal of all laws of nature. When was a helpless goose ever not eaten by the fox because she was constitutionally incapable of harboring aggressive designs? And when has a wolf ever reformed and become a pacifist because sheep do not wear armor. If there are still bourgeois states who earnestly believe this, that only proves how necessary it was to do away with an era that by its educational system managed to cultivate and maintain such notions, nay, even granted them political influence. The fight against this Jewish Asiatic Bolshevism had been raging long before National Socialism came into power. The only reason why it had not already overrun Europe during the years 1919 to 20 was that it was then itself too weak and too poorly armed. Its attempt to eliminate Poland was not abandoned because of its compassion for the Poland of that time, but only because of the lost battle before Warsaw. Its intention to annihilate Hungary was not discarded because they changed their minds, but because Bolshevist power could not be maintained militarily. Nor was the attempt to smash Germany given up because this achievement was not desired, but because it proved impossible to overcome the natural resistance stamina of our people. Thereupon, Judaism began systematically to undermine our nation from within, and it found its best ally in those narrow-minded bourgeoisie who would not recognize that the era of a bourgeois world is ended and will never again return, that the epoch of unbridled economic liberalism has outlived itself and can only lead to its self-destruction, and above all, that the great tasks of our time can be mastered only under an authoritarian coordination of natural strength based on the law of same rights for all and thence of same duties. On the other hand, the fulfillment of the same duties must necessarily entail an equality of rights. Thus, National Socialism, in the midst of gigantic economic, social, and cultural reconstruction work, has also educationally given to the German people that armor without which no military values can be created. The power of resistance of our nation has increased so tremendously since January 30th, 1933, that it cannot be compared anymore with that of former times. But the maintaining of this inner power of resistance is by the same token the safest guarantor of final victory. If Europe today finds itself stricken with a severe illness, the stricken countries will either overcome this illness by exerting their full and utmost power of resistance, or they will succumb. Yet the convalescent and survivor overcomes the climax of such an illness only in a crisis that utterly weakens him. But in spite of all, it is all the more our immutable will not to shrink from anything in this battle for the salvation of our people from the most dreadful fate of all times, and unflinchingly and faithfully to obey the law of the preservation of our nation. God the Almighty has made our nation. By defending its existence, we are defending his work. The fact that this defense is fraught with incalculable misery, suffering, and hardships makes us even more attached to this nation, but it also gives us that hard will needed to fulfill our duty even in the most critical struggle. That is, not only to fulfill our duty toward the decent, noble Germans, but also our duty toward those few infamous ones who turn their backs on their people. In this fateful battle, there is therefore for us but one command. He who fights honorably can thus save his own life and the lives of his loved ones. But he who, because of cowardice or lack of character, turns his back on the nation shall inexorably die an ignominious death. That National Socialism succeeded in awakening and strengthening this spirit in our German people is a great achievement. Only when this mighty world drama will have died away and the bells of peace are ringing will realization come of what the German people owes to this spiritual renaissance, no less than its existence in this world. Only a few months and weeks ago, Allied statesmen openly outlined the German fate. Thereupon, they were warned by some newspapers to be more intelligent and rather to promise something, even though nobody intended to keep this promise later. As an inexorable National Socialist and a fighter for my people, I now wish to assure these statesmen once and for all that every attempt at influencing National Socialist Germany through slogans, lies, and distortions presupposes a simple-mindedness unknown to the Germany of today. The fact that political activities and lies are inextricably linked in a democracy is of no consequence. Decisive is that every promise given by these statesmen to a people is today quite meaningless, because they are not in a position ever to fulfill any such promise. This is as if one sheep promised another sheep to protect it against a tiger. I herewith repeat my prophecy. England will not only not be in a position to control Bolshevism, but her development will unavoidably evolve more and more toward the symptoms of this destructive disease. The democracies are unable to rid themselves now of the forces they summoned from the steppes of Asia. All the small European nations who capitulated confident of Allied assurances are facing complete annihilation. It is entirely uninteresting whether this fate will befall them a little earlier or later. What counts is its implacability. The Kremlin Jews are motivated only by tactical considerations. Whether in one case they act with immediate brutality or in another case with some reticence, the result will always be the same. Germany, however, shall never suffer this fate. The guarantor thereof is the victory achieved 12 years ago within our country. Whatever our enemies may plot, whatever sufferings they may inflict on our German cities, on German landscapes, and above all, on our people, all that cannot bear any comparison with the irreparable misery, the tragedy that would befall us if the plutocratic Bolshevistic conspiracy were victorious. Therefore, it is all the more necessary on this 12th anniversary of the rise to power to strengthen the heart more than ever before and to steel ourselves in the holy determination to wield the sword, no matter where and under what circumstances, until final victory crowns our efforts. On this day, I do not want to leave any doubt about something else. Against an entire hostile world, I once chose my road according to my inner call and strode it as an unknown and nameless man to final success. Often they reported I was dead, and always they wished I were, but in the end, I remained victor in spite of all. My life today is with an equal exclusiveness determined by the duties incumbent on me. Combined, they are but one, to work for my people and to fight for it. Only he can relieve me of this duty who called me to it. It was in the hand of Providence to snuff me out by the bomb that exploded only 1.5 meters from me on July 20th, and thus to terminate my life's work. That the Almighty protected me on that day, I consider a renewed affirmation of the task entrusted to me. In the years to come, I shall continue on this road, uncompromisingly safeguarding my people's interests, oblivious to all misery and danger, and filled with the holy conviction that God the Almighty will not abandon him who, during all his life, had no desire but to save his people from a fate it had never deserved, neither by virtue of its number nor by way of its importance. Therefore, I now appeal to the entire German people, and above all, to my old fellow fighters and to all the soldiers to gird themselves with a yet greater, harder spirit of resistance, until we can again, as we did before, put on the graves of the dead of this enormous struggle a wreath inscribed with the words, "And yet you were victorious." Therefore, I expect every German to do his duty to the last, and that he be willing to take upon himself every sacrifice he will be asked to make. I expect every able-bodied German to fight with the complete disregard for his personal safety. I expect the sick and the weak, or those otherwise unavailable for military duty, to work with their last strength. I expect city dwellers to forge the weapons for this struggle, and I expect the farmer to supply the bread for the soldiers and workers of this struggle by imposing restrictions upon himself. I expect all women and girls to continue supporting this struggle with utmost fanaticism. In this appeal, I particularly address myself to German youth. In vowing ourselves to one another, we are entitled to stand before the Almighty and ask him for his grace and his blessing. No people can do more than that. Everybody who can fight, fights, and that everybody who can work, works, and that they all sacrifice in common, filled with but one thought: to safeguard freedom and national honor, and thus the future of life. However grave the crisis may be at the moment, it will, despite everything, finally be mastered by our unalterable will, by our readiness for sacrifice, and by our abilities. We shall overcome this calamity too, and this fight too will not be won by Central Asia, but by Europe. And at its head will be the nation that has represented Europe against the East for 1,500 years, and shall represent it for all time. Our greater German Reich, the German nation.
I would like to take a moment to...
Okay, so there you heard that. There you heard that. So, let me ask you this. First of all, him being a nationalist and speaking about Germany like that, right? I mean, you got to understand, this was after World War One, going into World War Two, right? Germany was decimated. And, I mean, he ended up actually building up Germany within like 2 years, right? He talks a lot about God, right? Okay, so here it is, right? And here it is. We talked about Adolf Hitler like we talk about Putin. What I mean, we talk about America, the government, right? He was against Mao Zedong. Mao Zedong murdered millions of his own people. He was against Asia. He was against Asia. He was a nationalist. So when you look at that, right? So when you wonder why the Democrat Party and liberals try to and insinuate that Trump is Hitler, that's because of Trump's nationalist stance for America first, because Hitler was Germany first. Hitler, from that speech, if you take out what you know, let's put it like this: if you take out what we know or what we think we know, what we've been told about Hitler, and Hitler didn't shoot himself in the mouth; he lived out the rest of his years in Argentina. That's unfreaking disputable as far as I'm concerned. But I digress. But if you take out what you know about Hitler and just listen to that speech, right? Just listen to that nationalist speech of what he wants his country, his countrymen to be and do to build up after World War I and to confront and fight any enemy that comes for Germany henceforth. Is that something? I mean, and be honest, right? Just listen to the speech. Is that someone that you would have followed? Being German. Being German. Is that someone that you would have followed at that time? And like I said, it's translated into English. That was a nationalist speech. And it don't have anything to do with what happened after that about the Jew. It doesn't have anything to do with that. I'm talking about this one speech. I think the Democrats are far more dangerous than that speech. Because I'm a nationalist, right? I am a nationalist. I love my country. I served my country for 27 years. I am a nationalist. America first, period. Period. And when you listen to some of Trump's speeches about being America first and what America's going to do, making America great again, you can relate some of that stuff to that speech. And people in the chat are saying he referred to God a lot, right? How do we know, seriously, how do we know that he was not a follower or didn't follow God or believe God was behind him? I mean, shit, every other leader does, right? We don't know his heart, so we can't say that just because he talked about God a lot and he was evil. How do we know? We've been told he was evil. We went to war against him. How many times have we been told people are evil? We've been told Putin is evil. I don't think, yeah, he's KGB and stuff. Putin makes a whole lot more sense than a lot of people in this country. We were told by a lie Saddam Hussein was evil, but we actually was on the same side of Saddam Hussein. We are told who's evil. Hitler did a lot of what he said too. I know Mama loves to say difference is Hitler was lying. Hitler built up Germany. So you listen to that speech, I would say he would be lying if Germany was left to be a shithole. Germany had better airplanes than we had. And I agree, Sean. And why is that? Because we had people like Prescott Bush, the DuPonts and Ford, what? Paying for both sides of the war. They were paying for both sides of the war. But Germany was more advanced at that time of World War II than the United States. Air superiority, even though we had better pilots, they had better machines. So what we're told, just look at it now. Just look at what we're told by our government now. We were told that shots were safe and effective. I had a guest on this that came on, and it's bullshit, right? And we now have a Marxist communist, basically society or government or people in our government that runs our government. We are fighting against Marxism and communism right now. So it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. He built up Germany to be a world power. The guy, he loved Germany. This is what isn't this the same thing Donald Trump is trying to do right now? Isn't Donald Trump trying to make America great again? Isn't Donald Trump trying to build up America to once again be a superpower over every other country? Isn't that what we're doing? I think that's what we're doing. I think that's what we voted for. Guess what? We voted for Donald Trump, right? Because why? Because we want America to be great. Because we want America to be great again, not because he's Hitler. It's because we are American nationalists because we want America to be superior to every other country. We want America to be first. And there's nothing wrong with that. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So when I listen to that speech, and I'm like, if I was a German at that time, hell yeah, let's go. Because right now, I'm behind Trump right now. Hell yeah, let's go. Make America great. So what we're always told may not be true because what the Democrats are trying to tell us now is not true, right? What the Democrats tell their people about Trump, it's not true, right? Because we all as Americans, whether you're a dumbass liberals or what, we want America first. Damn any other country. Screw any other country. America, even Trudeau said it in his speech at the end, right? We're gonna put Canada first. Isn't that what Trudeau said? Isn't that what Trudeau said in his crybaby speech last night? No matter what, we are gonna put Canada first. So we all know the United States, we all know we create boogeymen to go after to create war, right? Because we know by Eisenhower said, and Smedley Butler, war is a racket. We all know people get paid off war. We all know that the Fords and the Bushes, they all got paid off World War II. They were funding both sides of the war. So what happens then? So anyway, I was just putting that out there. I wanted y'all to hear that. I thought it was interesting. Yeah, we know the history of, what Hitler did and whatever, and a bunch of that stuff is coming out. Maybe, the numbers were a little fudged a little bit. The numbers were a little fudged a little bit. Not saying anything didn't happen, but no, I'm not saying that. Not a denier. But when you read and actually go and you really look into stuff for yourself and not just take what you've been taught. A lot of things that we've been taught, sadly, a lot of things that we've been taught, that we've been told is wrong. Is wrong. I mean, I just saw a video. Let me see if I have that, and I'm gonna pull up. And I mean, and you know, and I see stuff like this. Oh gosh, let me see if I can send it to myself. But it was of I don't know if I have it, but I know I had it. I had it. Okay, I might try to find it, but it was the a descendant. See, now I really want to find it, but and then who was the lady? The Anne, whatever, Russian that escaped the Holocaust or whatever. Jewish lady that escaped the Holocaust. I think. I'm sorry. I thought I had that clip, but she came out and I saw it, and she came out. I mean, it's things like this. You know, when you see the pictures in the video of the concentration camps, and you see all the people, right? And you see other people. Well, she came out and said, well, that was recreated because when they came to save the people, it was in the winter. And when you look at the video of all the people, that was recreated. There was no snow on the ground. There was no snow. And so all of that has been recreated. And Frank, okay? Yeah, okay. So Anne Frank's, I believe it was a niece or great grandniece or something of Anne Frank. And she said that, yeah, people need to be told, and this is, you know, her great niece or something, older lady. And she said people need to be told that those videos were recreated because what she said was the army, when they came in, the army didn't have cameras at the time that they came through those camps and were rescued or whatever, right? She said that, oh, here it is right here. Hold on. Okay, so I'm gonna forward this to myself. Hold on. And then I'm gonna play this and then we're gonna get out of here. Hey, I just, had to go a little long tonight because it just is what it is, right? And you guys seem to be having so much fun over there in the chat. But I'm gonna put this up. And I think stuff like this is important because we haven't been told the truth, right? So I think a lot of things like this, when you find them, for me, for a searcher and a believer in truth, you have to put this information out there to give people, all the information so they can, make their own decisions, right? So they can make their own decisions on things. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this up. Love how I have to produce my own show, right? Just bam, let's rock it. Let's see. Okay, we'll pull this up.
I wanted to point out.
Okay, so this is her on an interview, was on Today Show or something like that. So I'm gonna put this. Carolyn says she enjoyed the speech. As soon as she learns English, she intended on learning another language, but she's fluent in hillbilly redneck. I hear ya. Carolyn. All right, so I'm gonna play this, right? And so this is what she says, right?
And something I wanted to point out to you, there are many pictures about the Russian liberating Auschwitz, and there's never any snow. And the snow was honestly that high. Mm-hmm. And so I have some connection with the Russian embassy, and I was there once, and I said, something puzzles me. Those photos are fakes because there's no snow. Mm-hmm. And they said, well, yes, they are not fakes, but when the army came, they didn't have cameras, they didn't photograph. So only much later, when they realized we should have pictures of it, they took pictures like you see now. But this is definitely not in Auschwitz and not the liberation of Auschwitz. There were not that many people with clothes and children and no snow.
Right, fascinating.
So I think historically we should point this out.
Get it right.
So see, so stuff like that, right? So stuff like that. So what do you think now? So listening to her right now, listen to her said it was faked. So it's been recreated. It wasn't even in Auschwitz. It wasn't even there. Those videos, she admits it in the Russian embassy. They admit it. Those videos, it wasn't even in Auschwitz. So how do we know? How do we know what's true? How do we know what the truth is? How do we know? How do we know? 75th anniversary of Auschwitz. I got that from Piers Morgan's show somewhere. Piers on the show. I get shit sent to me, man. Right? Because people know I'm not scared to put the truth out there. People know I'm not afraid to question everything. To question everything. How do we know? How do we know? It wasn't even now all of this time. Think about it. I want you guys to think about this. I'm going over. I can't. I want you guys to think about this. We've been shown that video. How many times in our lives have you seen that video? How many times have you seen that footage? And we were told that was Auschwitz, right? Auschwitz. How have you said shit? I'm not German. How many times have we seen that and was told this was the Russian liberation? This was Auschwitz. That was videotaped. That was recreated. That never happened. That footage, that never freaking happened. That was all mind control. That shit there was all mind control. Every bit of it was mind control. All of it. All of it. All of that. That was brainwashing. All of it. So what really happened? What really happened? Those people were actors. They were crisis actors. I'm gonna get this show kicked off YouTube, probably, right? How do we know? Right? You guys understand what I'm saying? You guys understand what I'm saying? We are told what to think, and because shit is created to put into our minds to control our feelings and what we believe. Until I saw that clip the other day, I believed that was Auschwitz. I believed that was real footage. Never really paid attention to there was no snow. I never really paid attention to that. They all had to close. I never paid attention to that. Yeah, definitely journals. The only way to know is like Lone Star says journals, true accounts of those who lived it. True accounts, man. So, ooh, man. All right, I'm done. I'm done for tonight. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'm going out on a Tim McGraw song tonight, man, in memory of my dear friend Kim. Like say they had her ceremony later to rest. It was a beautiful ceremony. And no, sweetheart. I don't own a tinfoil hat. Mine is platinum, mama love. My hat has been platinum for years. I've been doing this since 1999. I am one of the original conspiracy theorists I'm undefeated. I'm undefeated. I am undefeated. But you guys, man, hey, don't believe what you see. Don't believe what you hear. Don't believe what people tell you. Find it out for yourself. Go find it out for yourself. And there's a bunch of stuff out there that I'm discovering that is just blowing my mind. I already did the show that we ain't go to the moon. I already did that show. If you missed that show, go on Rumble and check it out. I'm up on Spotify. Go check it out. We didn't go to the moon. I'm on record saying it. We didn't go to the moon. So, hey, you're only going to see this shit on this show, though, right? You will not, even though, I got some stuff off Joe Rogan, so that's why I like Joe Rogan. He has some serious shit, too. I think I'm the best after Joe Rogan. I just don't have the people watching this show. Candace Owens is catching up. She has a lot of people. She's starting to talk some truth on her shows too since she left Daily Wire. But I'm not controlled by anybody. I'm not paid by anybody. I'm just, you go paid by some sponsors. People go buy stuff, whatever. But we've been lied to. We've been lied to. But in memory, hold on, I gotta cue this up because I messed up. I don't even know if I can do this right now. I'm gonna try to pull this one up. Let me see. Let me see if this will play. Oh, no. But in memory of my friend Kim and the patriot that she was, the super patriot that she was, I'm sure she'll love this. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm gonna pop this in and see if this will play. I had some audio difficulties earlier, so I'm not sure why, and I still may have some. And it's not playing. So why is that playing? It's weird. Really, really weird. I don't know. Maybe just don't want to play for me. Maybe just don't want to play. I'm not sure. Um, that's bad audio though. What's going on with YouTube? Are they like blocking me out right now? I think YouTube is blocking me out, man. YouTube is straight blocking me out right now on the music tip. I'm gonna do it another way because I want to get this. Just bear with me one moment. We can finish up here, but thank y'all, like I say, for tuning in and everything. What's his name? But I think we're gonna do it like this. Hopefully you guys can hear this, but I'm not done yet. I'm gonna skip this. All right, so hopefully you guys can hear that. You guys give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear that. But this for my sweet Katia, thank you. So just give me a quick thumbs up if you guys can hear that in the background. I appreciate it. Well, we're going out. Thank you guys for tuning in to another Radical Republicans live show. I'll see you all next Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Got another great guest. And a moment came that stopped me on a dime. I spent most of the night. So I'm hoping you guys looking at the x-rays, talking about the options, and talking about sweet time. All right, so you guys take care. Asked him this again that this might really be the real end. Yeah, I know. Thanks, Katia. It's kind of crazy. I think I'm getting another system. Man, what you appreciate you. All right, later. And he said, I went knocking on sentence. A bull that was mangy. Deeper than spoke, sweeter than forgiveness I've been denied. And he said, someday I hope
chance to live like you were dying. He said I was fine being the husband. Most of the time I wasn't. I became a friend would like to have. And all of a sudden going fishing wasn't such an imposition. And I went 3 times that year, I lost my dad. Well, I finally read the good book and I took a good long hard look at what I'd do if I could quit falling in. Then I went sky. You might be climbing in a bit. Once seconds on a bull named Banshee. And the deeper I sweeter I can't forget this I did not forget. And he said, someday I hope get the chance to live like you got. Tomorrow was a gift and you got eternity. Think about what you do with it. What did you do with it? What did I do with it? What would I do with it? Sky, in my wind. Like you in my wind. With your voice, with seconds. We'll go thank you. And I love we were that sweeter than what eagle makes it was good. Hey, hey. Said someday I want you with the chance to live like you were dying. To live like you were dying. To live like you were dying.